We're going to find out. We're going over to the golden desk. No, I'll go. Okay, bye.
That was very cute. Thank you, Chambers. Shall we try the same? Shall we?
You know what they do? Like, you go on a field trip, right? As in the elementary school, they like when you're in the bus, and then the teacher be like, "Yeah, we're gonna predict,"
Hide.
as if everyone's hiding. So we
Exactly.
came back without all the kids. I think next time when they bring us to the cast, we should be like hiding under a desk and acting
should.
like we're not here.
We definitely should. I just want to say one thing. Demo, that's rigged. You know it's rigged, Demo. The predictions are rigged. I did not vote for ACEND. That's rigged by Demo. He changed it. I'll blame him.
I mean, I have a good feeling about this for Mkers. It's very confident to pick a map that you've never played before while you know how your enemies play against it, because we did actually see the enemies play on it. We did see ACEND play on Bank before in the group stage, so they might have an idea of how ACEND play this. However, the map allows you to roam a lot, and that might be working really good for Mkers.
It is Mkers who get the social vote with 86%. Excuse me, 68%. That's quite a substantial amount of votes. That's in the advantage of Mkers. I was just thinking about 86 because I wanted to make the joke earlier, but I forgot to do it. Yeah.
That happens, it's okay. ACEND gets to pick the first attack in men, right? I wouldn't be surprised, I said, if it was a buck. I'm not saying it's 100% gonna be a buck, because we did see ACEND use that player before as well, or use that buck before, but Mkers seem to be really strong in it. However, they're banning the Hibana, and I can see that making sense as well. A lot of vertical control that you want to be establishing, especially when you're going for an attack onto lockers. You want to get those hatches open, and not having the Hibana in play is going to make that a lot more difficult. Mkers, on the other hand, here banning out the Flores. Mkers didn't play Flores on our last map, but we did see the players of ACEND use that Flores and try and get rid of those shields.
It is the castle that gets banned here by Mkers. A very interesting ban, and it could have to do with the with ACEND already showing their cards. Like you said, they have played Bank before, so an operator that we don't see banned that often. Definitely a calculated pick right over here.
Yeah, exactly. Last man coming in, Valkyrie, with the fashion that we've seen before. No information coming from this. But the castle ban on Bank makes a lot of sense to me. Why? I've seen Bank being played in Challenger League, in the playoffs, in the group phase and everything. What I'm seeing is a lot of long lines of sight. Players making tunnels out of sights with their castle barricades. Castle obviously having 4 barricades instead of 3 now since a few weeks ago. He can basically block off the entire site. And you have the UMP with a 1.5, so if you have those long lines of sight, you can also contest them. You might not always want to do that if you have the scope disadvantage, if you have a holographic, and the enemies have, for example, an ACOG or a 2.0. But with that 1.5 on the UMP, you can contest those long lines of sight, and we've seen so much castle play on Bank already.
I'm liking this 6-pick. It's from an Echo to a Maestro to Intel operators, and 2 operators to potentially deny a plant with, of course. So it's the Maestro being brought here by enemy. They are choosing to go for this kitchen hold right over here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one of the sites that gets picked first, I would say. But if defenders end up picking this site, they do go for a very big roam onto that same floor and even upstairs. We do have the Mira in potential play, but the Mira is not being brought out yet, and you were pointing out something?
85% win rate in open area and kitchen, man.
That's high.
85%. We've only seen Bank being played 6 times in the Challenger League so far, but of those 10 times that open area and kitchen was played, 85% of the times the defense was able to win. Overall, Bank is a quite defense-favored map with 71% of all the rounds on defense, on Bank, going the defenders their way. So you would say that ACEND has a fair share of winning this map, or at least starting off quite good on this map?
Could potentially be, but look at that. Thatcher's in play, and Mkers is making good use of that immediately. To bring that Thatcher in here too. Gemini going for a breach on these walls, basically denying roams or rotates coming out from ACEND really quick, Joe. That top floor is not safe to rotate back through, and we know that players do like to hold into the top floor, and now they're already forcing off rotates in that hallway towards open area. Mellow, however, in lobby, could go big potentially. Ice also on the top floor, finding himself into a gunfight with the lone office there. Not landing the shots just yet, so all players still on full full HP. I say that as Ice picks up the opening kill onto Akui, going down to about 40 HP, but could go back further towards the side. And now the opening kill's in the hands of ACEND.
Yes, it is here. Scatto, who's outside on the rappel, but indeed the opening kill going towards ACEND's their side. And if history repeats itself, that means that this round will most likely go to ACEND as well. It's Ravon that's still here, sitting next to the stairs. Oh, Mello knows that somebody's over there. He's kind of following where the person is, but that person needs to get up right now. Mello's still waiting for Lalo to make a move, but Lalo doesn't really have the intel over here. Finally gets the intel. And then Mello is killed over here. You know what's cute? My dad is calling me just right now, and I'm so tempted to just picking up. Saying, Dad, we're in the middle of a cast, and we just saw Mello get killed.
Yeah, Mello definitely had the advantage. I mean, Lalo didn't even know that the player was there. He even had the sound cue of Lalo going through those beepers. And now Ice is falling by that vertical control being established by Sasha. And this is what Mkers really excels in. Getting that map control, pulling out those roamers, just making sure they establish the control that they want to have. The players of ACEND just running around. Ravon is in the basement. Could go for a potential huge flank, but Gemini is still setting up those lines of sight from above, forcing the players of ACEND out of their standard holds. Now that this top floor around open areas open up, they're opening up the hatch as well, giving themselves one of the entries into the side. But Ravon, still on the roam, could potentially do a lot of damage.
It is Sasha here with the kill on enemy, and with that it's a 4 versus 2 situation. It all started pretty well here for ACEND, but it's all falling down. All going pretty south over here. They do have a C4. That C4 gets tossed in the shade with a kill, but does get downed in return. Now it's Ravon in a 1 versus 3 clutch situation. Lalo will kill Ravon here, and with that, this round goes to Mkers.
Very strong showing for Mkers in that first round. It's only just the first round. But you said we've seen Bank 6 times so far. The general win rate on defense is 71%, which is really high. And you wouldn't expect it. There's one map that has just a little bit higher defensive win rate, which is Coastline. You wouldn't really expect that one, but 71% of the rounds being won on defense is huge. I think that mainly has to do with the huge potential for roaming on this map. And we saw ACEND do that. We saw Ravon in the basement at some point halfway through the round. You could go for a potential flank. I mean, there was a player sitting in tellers or archives just waiting for Lola to push in. Would he have played a little bit more aggressive? He would have potentially gotten the kill there. I mean, he had the information that Lola was going through the Reapers. It took just a little bit longer for Mkers to know that Mello was there, and then they got the kill.
And with Mkers, we saw that, I mean, you know, they played Coastline earlier. We saw that 73% win rate on defense kind of being wiped away by Mkers, right? Their offenses have been so strong, so I think they're on a mission to kind of wipe away the 71% win rate here for Bank. They're just showing we don't care about the win rates, we don't care about any of the statistics, we do our own thing, and that's what they've been doing so far. They have been able to close out that first round and are looking for a few more rounds, because where Mkers is good at offense, they're also quite good at defense.
We see a lot of utility. ADS is invested into that blue stairs, potentially some magnets there as well. A mute jammer, and this is going to be a vital part of that round. If you hold onto those blue stairs, denying control for attackers downstairs towards security, you're going to hold on to that for a lot longer. Gemini has already found themselves in the open area. Could already get a lot of map control, but will find Mello on these main stairs as he's just holding a line of sight. Also, Gemini just playing that quite passively. Akui also just storming in through the top floor here. The first person he's going to find is on top of that blue stairs.
Yeah, on top of that blue stairs, there is some intel. So it means that Ravon would know that somebody would be pushing him right there. He's on that echo drone, of course, waiting for somebody to actually be there. And with there, I mean in kitchen, because that's where the echo drone is currently situated at. It's Mello who's playing semi-aggressive on those stairs. Also probably trying to see if he can get any intel, whether that be a sound cue or, of course, that echo drone that's still up and running in that kitchen end.
The players of Mkers are not aware of these echo drones just lingering around, full on giving information on where the players of Mkers are. Akui now opening the hatch in lobby, making a potential drop possible for these players as well as there's still more lines of sight being established. Sasha now open up a very long line of sight, and Akui is in lobby. Players of Mkers are very spread out, but a lot of information on their positioning is given through to the players of ACEND. I am waiting for a potential flank or somewhat of an action of ACEND to come out, but they're playing very passive. This Thatcher EMP now disabling all the utility on top of the Blue Stars, forcing Ravon to have to fall back. Could rely off a C4 that he might have, but has given a lot of information on the players pushing down blue. Goes for the shock and take, but no one just down there yet.
No, and it's Akui with the opening kill here on Eyes, and oh no, Akui is able to get a second kill. That's huge right here, because that means that they have server control with 50 seconds remaining. The Echo drone has to make its way back to site if he wants to potentially deny a defuse here. Akui currently still on his drone, trying to see if anybody is here in that gold vault. It's only 35 seconds remaining, and we see Sasha going for... Oh, this is huge. This is huge. Akui is feeding information. Nobody's there right now, but it's a little bit of a misrun because Mello kind of has an idea that somebody is about to drop here. But it depends on who has more patience. Is it Sasha or is it Mello? Because if Sasha just keeps on waiting a little bit more, he does indeed. He can drop and get the kill on Mello. He does so indeed. It is Sasha who was patient enough to wait and get the kill on Mello. Shade can do a little bit of damage back, but it's a little too late. Enemy has to clutch it up. 1 versus 4 right over here. Can do a little bit of damage on the Thatcher, but Sasha with a huge kill on enemy. And with that, it's Mkers leading 2-0.
I like the initial idea what ACEND is trying to bring out, right? They're bringing out the Echo because they know they don't have the Velk in play. Velk being banned now twice. You have to get that information. We've seen Mkers clear out the map, just relocating themselves constantly. We had Akui in lobby for a second. It seems like in the blink of an eye, he's in security. He's just forcing himself through that dirt tunnel, and ACEND was not expecting him right there. They're just keep on relocating. I mean, we saw the Thatcher, for example, just go back into lobby only to drop that hatch. You said which player has more patience? It was the player on the Maker side, because they were droning out Melu, so they could drop and immediately get that kill there. The information was constantly giving to the players of ACEND with those Echo drones hanging around. Makers had no idea, but they kept on repositioning. And you can't give so much information, but if the players of Makers just vanish, all those Echo drones, you can't give that information anymore. So really well played out by Makers as they were able to take that control over blue and then storm themselves in, also cutting off indeed that only hold that was being down in vault. So a strong look from them so far.
Definitely a good analysis there indeed on that bug that rotated, first opening the hatch of course in that lobby. A hatch that's relatively new into this into bank of course, has been added with the slight bank reworks that we've seen. A lot of hatches now to deal with when you're having a bottom floor hold, and that's something that ACEND just noticed as well. A little bit too many hatches there for their liking of course. And Mello, who was trying to stay patient. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work. Sasha was the more patient one, and it did pay off. What I liked there, and it's something that you just pointed out as well, is that it was a good rotate there from Makers. But what do you do as a defensive side? I mean, you can't really anticipate on the anticipation of your enemy, right?
No, but they have to get the information in some way because the Valk is not here. So they're using the Echo. You can just let those Echo drones go all around the building to get that information. But if the players vanish, like I said, you can't just keep on chasing them, especially if they go outside because you lose the signal on your Echo cams. So getting that information on what the players of Makers are is essential because their map control seems to be going really well so far. Again, they're bringing that buck time and time again. They've already opened these windows here. Now that the castle isn't in play, there's nothing that is blocking these windows, giving Akui just free looks into the side with all these lines of sight he could potentially get.
It is here still ACEND who's struggling, trying to get around over here, which is kind of surprising, of course. If we look at the statistics, you would say that ACEND should have won one round already. But it is Makers who's playing Siege so well and so well. They've really worked on their offenses, they've really worked on their synergy, but most importantly, they've really worked on their patience, not trying to get too cocky. I mean, you know, even right now you're up 2-0, but they're still playing Siege the way Siege is supposed to be played, and that's just careful as a team, going for an execution.
Yeah, they were trying to bait the player to come out of Janitors here, but the players is being very passive. Shade just losing a few of the gunfights, but Scatto is inside. They've opened the breach. He's going for a breach, for a plant really far into the side. Akui on the windows has a lot of lines aside, and Scatto with the kill onto Shade. This is all falling apart for ACEND as they're falling. Ice is falling. Revan is at very low HP. The players are just rappelling onto windows, holding the lines aside. The players have to come back in. A flawless round coming out from Mkers. This is such good siege coming out. They have the control over the windows, get that breach, trying to force the players out of their standard holds in Janitors, and then they just get the diffuser down.
Scatto, huge right over there. Getting the diffuser down, then getting a 2K for his team. Huge round there from Scatto. And what is going on?
A few things, right? Mkers ban the castle. Normally you'll see the castle in between the side and onto those big windows around Banana. The castles not being there, you might have one of those Surya gates, but that basically gave Akui free control onto those windows. ACEND didn't have a player around lobby or ADMs to just shoot him off those windows there, so he was having free real estate onto the side. There were head holes on CEO walls, right? You had the player in Janitors, but Lalo was crouch walking in. That means that he's not being able to be spotted through those head holes because he's underneath it. He's hiding from it. They were going for the breach simultaneously. Lalo was holding Janitor. They were expecting that player to come out there and to come pushing to get that breach off the wall potentially. Then the breach was done. Mkers had a good read that most of the players of ACEND were offside. They full-on sent it, went for the defuse, and then just held these lines aside. All the potential ways of how ACEND was able to come back to side. It looked detrimental. It was falling apart, and a flawless round coming out for Mkers.
Did you say send it on purpose because our national hero is about to go into free practice?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
He is. It is still Mkers who's up 3-0, and yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to make of it. I think it's just simply Mkers playing Siege so well currently. I mean, look at this. We see ACEND now taking a dock. I mean, you know, it seems like they're going to try to maybe go for a little bit of more aggressive playstyle, of course, with that multiplier on that scope of the dock. You can go for a little bit of more aggressive peaks, right?
Yeah, and the longer lines aside, right? If you're defending downstairs, you want to have some kind of pressure on top floor, some kind of lines around CEO, because if you have those, it makes it a lot more difficult for players to just walk into square skylight. So with those long lines aside, with that bigger scope, he can contest those lines, but it isn't happening just yet.
And in 3 rounds, ACEND has only been able to catch 3 kills.
That is not good.
That's 1 kill per round. That's a bit, I was going to say maybe a little bit embarrassing. Maybe that's a bit rough, but hey, only 3 kills in 3 rounds. Well, it's the 4th round, so that means the 4th kill here for ACEND, and it's Shade who's able to get that kill. It's finally ACEND that can do a little bit of damage back because also Ice is able to get a kill, and with that it's a 3 versus 5 situation in the advantage of ACEND. Sometimes just telling them a little bit of the truth wakes them up, but just as I say that, it's a Kui with a refrag.
You're losing your smoke. That's so unfortunate. You had those smoke and still they could use Ice going to really low HP, but has that Doc Stim pistol. Could potentially bring himself back to full HP on half HP now. But the players have seemed to abandon the site a little bit. Still 4 players in the hands of ACEND, but they've also blocked off this rotate. Ice has nowhere to go. He's stuck around those main stairs, and just as Gemini looks away, it's Ice just rotating back towards the side. They have the long lines aside on this hallway here. Drone coming out to see where those remaining players of ACEND are, but Ice being able to rotate back is huge.
It definitely is. It is. Still a 3 versus 4 situation right over here, and they still have the Akui in play, who's of course the buck here, opening the vertical angles, getting rid of that bulletproof cam right over there. And oh no, Gemini has just thrown somebody out, but Mello has already moved away from that position. Enemy with the kill on Sasha, and with that it's a 2 versus 4 situation. And Gemini is going to try and open the wall over here, trying to get a line of sight into sight, but it's a little bit too late. He doesn't know that enemy is right over here. Enemy, time to get up. Enemy missing his shots. No, enemy! How can you miss that? It's Gemini with the return frag. A 2 versus 3 situation, but it's a little bit too late here for that kill on by Gemini because it's Ice with the kill on Akui, and yeah, that same Gemini has to try and clutch it, but Ice with a huge round. Was it a quad kill? or a triple kill.
This was exactly what ACEND needed. They were playing much more aggressive. They knew if we sit back, if we just wait for Mkers to make a stab, then we're gonna get picked off one by one. I love to see that dog upstairs. It's not really an operator that you see being picked that often, but they were just going for these swings left, right, and center, just trying to contest the control coming out from Mkers, and they were wasting so much time. Ice being able to rotate back off those main stairs by Gemini not watching that long hallway was huge. They were wasting so much time, and that was the last player of Mkers in the lobby. Both doors where he was trying to go to had a Surya gate on them. There's not much you can do with the little time amount remaining.
They have tried all 4 sites on defense, and it finally paid off. It was Archives that it came down to. Yeah, it's Mkers are struggling, and I mean it makes sense that it's Archives. It's the site with the highest defense win rate, 88% of the times. Some team defended Archives. They were able to convert that, and that's all that that ACEND needed over here. But if you need a site that's winnable for 88% of the times, I'm a little bit worried about the rest of the sites. They're going back to Locker CCTV, and that is a little bit less defense favored, still at 55%, but a little less.
This is good. I like the adaptation coming out from Melu. Last time when they were defending downstairs, it was one of the players of Mkers to just full-on send it into open area, not being contested at all. This time, they have Melu there with those goo mines onto the jump in, so he could potentially hold on to open area really long. They have a lot of breach potential coming out, right? They have a thermite, they have the ace. All hatches, they can open up right this. They need to hold on to that control of open area, not let the players of Mkers just get that free real estate there to hold on to this fence. Why is the hatch in lobby open? That was one of the main pressure points from Mkers last time.
No.
Why is it open this time? That, like, call in your buck, get it open, drop the hatch.
Yeah, I mean, they could even do it with the Yana, right? The Yana has nades, probably has a Gong 6 as well. So that hatch will be opened shortly. It is 3 reinforcements still in the pockets of the defenders, and what's going on?
I don't know why they didn't reinforce the hatch, but they might also just try and bait the players into going there, because if they get that control quite easily, there's still a lot that they have to deal with around open area. It's looking like they're doing that so far. However, Gemini's already established this control on top of the blue stairs, going for the hatch, allowing Akui to have these slight lines of sight for a potential peek, but no players just yet in downstairs into security.
I was going to say, isn't Ice still roaming somewhere? He is, but he does get picked up here by Gemini, and with that, it's one of the roamers of the board. But wait a second, there's a Mellow still in open area, and they haven't droned him out.
No, because there wasn't someone there last time. Mello could go huge if he steps up at the right time. Kills the thermite. Has the diffuser now in open area to his disposal. Finds another one. Tries to hide a little bit as he doesn't land his shots just yet, but has the diffuser in his control. The players of Mkers need to regain that diffuser, and Sasha is on low HP as well. Mello just dancing around left, right, center, holding onto the drones, shooting down and injuring and killing Gemini. So he's got a lot of control in his hands. Being gone down, but that's okay. He's wasted so much time. That hatch will not be open because the 2 main hard breachers are gone.
They indeed have been killed here. It's Sasha picking up the diffuser, and Akui says, you know what? Let me just try to go for a hero play. Let me just walk onto site. Oh no! Akui here with the kill. Can he get the second frag? He cannot, but there's another player coming on his left. That player will kill him, that being enemy. It's a 2 versus 2 situation, and also Diana has now pushed up. He saw his buddy going, and he's like, you know what? If he can do it, I can also do it. Has to watch out here for Ravon, and Ravon gets the kill. Sasha, 25 HP, even less than 25 HP, more like 15 HP. Has to clutch this up for his team. It is currently enemy and Ravon, both on quite high HP, who just have to sit back and relax, I was going to say, but Sasha with the kill on enemy. Why were you there, enemy? Now Sasha has to find the last player, will try to get the diffuser down. That sound cue is probably being given here to Ravon, and oh no, Ravon, you're nowhere to be seen. And remember what we said about the Kona stations earlier. It is Sasha who can get healed here. No! It is Ravon with the kill, and Sasha looked just the wrong way. And with that, finally a second round going towards ACEND.
Before this round started, Mello was on 0 kills. This round, is thanks to Mello. This first 2 kills on the scoreboard, but 2 huge ones. He sat in open area, had triggered discipline for so long, and Mkers thought it was free because the last time they tried to take downstairs, no one was in open area. This time Mello was there. A beautiful read coming out from his side. Having those Goomites, just being able to take that controller. He got the kill onto Thermite. Thermite had no idea that Mello was there. Diffuser dropped, one of your hard breachers gone. You're gonna have to retake that diffuser. We saw the Thatcher being on very low HP. Ace was sent into open area, lost the gunfight as well. That was basically it for Mkers. Both their hard breachers were gone. There was no way they're going to be able to force themselves down a hatch. They had to go for blue search control. Akui had a good read there. He went onto the side, but maybe overpeaked it in the wrong way. Same maybe for Lalo as he tried to go off of where the gunshots were coming from, but couldn't really land his shots. It was looking like a potential clutch from that last Mkers play, but unfortunately, he looked the wrong way.
We are going back to open area and kitchen right over here. We saw ACEND losing it earlier. Was a good round there from Mkers, but it seems like ACEND has woken up. Just like the last game, right? I mean, that was a little bit more extreme. That was 6-0 down and then they've woken up. Now they've woken up a little bit earlier when being down 3-0. Kind of woke up about twice as fast as earlier.
Yeah, but they're adapting, and I'm really liking to see this coming out from ACEND. They thought, oh, last time someone was just pushing an open area, fine, we'll have someone sitting there. Oh, Mkers are taking top for control easy. They're just rappelling on the windows. Fine, we'll just have someone swing them from CEO and from long desk upstairs. It's really good adaptation coming out from ACEND, and I'm seeing the Vigil. Is he gonna go sit off-site and just try and be remaining unspotted from drones for as long as possible? Players from Mkers seem as if they're quite spread out. They might go for the top 4 control on those windows again, but they're gonna have to drone out this Vigil and make sure that they know where he is before they engage into map control.
Yeah, the Mute is still setting up his Mute Jammers. Had 3 Mute Jammers in his pocket 10 seconds ago and has just put in down 2. What I really like here about ACEND is that they have quite a lot of drone denial, don't they? They have the Mute, they have the Vigil, they have the Mozzie. I wish drones would get stuck in goo mines though. That would be funny. They get like a flat tire or something, you know.
A flat tire with a spike coming out, yeah, sure. It's good adaptation once again, because Mkers, their drone work is really strong. We saw them just droning out players and going for the engagements there. Enemy is in an off position though. Don't think Mkers have really spotted him out. One of those pests denying some information coming out for Mkers, but enemy still hiding in that elevator. Could potentially go huge if the players of Mkers just walk past him. One player also around lobby here being Jackal tracked. We send in a Gemini replicator, but there's no player of Mkers just following up onto that player in Tellers there.
Yeah, we finally see Jackal being played. We saw it earlier on Coastline as well, but here we see the Jackal being played. It's a good pick. As you can see, Sasha with the opening frag on that Jackal, killing enemy here. Enemy that was earlier hiding in that elevator, but he was being Jackal tracked, so he wasn't safe there any longer. It's now Gemini also with the kill on Ravon, and with that it's a 5 versus 3 situation. In the advantage of Mkers, and what ACEND could do a little bit different over here is perhaps... I mean, now that you know that there's a Jackal, sometimes it's just good to play aggressive, right?
Yeah, but Shade has a C4. He could go huge if he knows that the player is above. It's Akui just doing a lot of self-destruction above, remodeling the site from above, trying to get those peaks on where the defenders are, but they're playing this safe. It's okay, you don't have to always peek that from underneath, because you'll likely have the disadvantage. All the players of ACEND, however, are on site with 35 seconds remaining. The C4 coming out, huge kill onto Akui, and that's the vertical control gone. Mkers now has to force themselves into the site horizontally.
It is a 4 versus 3 situation. Only 22 seconds remaining, and you see that Mkers knows that. They have to start hurrying up. They still have the diffuser in Scatto's pocket, and Scatto's about to walk into here, but hey, there's a bulletproof cam over there. That's feeding exactly the information. Shade can be huge here. It is Shade with a kill, also Mello with a kill, and Shade can find another kill on the ace, and with that, it's the round going ACEND's way. 3-3, they're coming back, and it was a 5-3 lead in man count here from Mkers, but all of a sudden ACEND is able to bring this back.
Shade is going absolutely huge in open area, and that information game worked out so well for ACEND here. Having that bulletproof camera, singularly that bulletproof camera in that long hallway where Mkers pushed from before, gave them so much information. Shade played very aggressive, going off those red pings, just swinging left, right, center, dancing around an open area and collecting those last 3 kills. Really good map control coming out from ACEND, as well as with Shade with that C4 onto Akui earlier onto the round as well. Huge coming out from him. Now ACEND has to go on attack. Mkers could potentially show off a really good roam play, which Bank allows you to so much. They're going for lockers first. They bring that kite, knowing that the Hibana isn't in play, so getting those hatches is going to be very difficult.
It is indeed going to be quite challenging. Not really bringing a Maverick here, so it's all up to the Twitch, isn't it?
And Thatcher.
And the Thatcher, of course. I forgot. You see, it's because Thatcher is always banned. Thatcher is just always banned. So yeah, then the Cade shouldn't really damage the hard breach abilities here from ACEND too much.
I'm looking to see what Akui's main gun is, because I haven't seen it yet. He's been running out with a pistol. Obviously, trying to do some setups, because if you whip out that pistol, you're just a little bit faster. But if he has a shotgun, I reckon he's going to play on top blue stairs. If he has the Scorpion, he's just going to probably run around to left, right, and center. But they have some kind of hold on top blue stairs.
Yep.
With a lot of ADS set up there.
There comes the shield.
Yeah, the shield as well. This is classical siege on Bank in any of your ranked games that you've potentially seen before. Is it the shotgun he's pulling out? I can't see it yet. Ah!
He still has all 3 of his traps in his pocket though. Of his concussion traps.
He's gonna look to hold onto blue stairs for as long as possible. As soon as he's getting threatened there, he's throwing out those concussion mines. Those Grismot mines. Yes.
Grismot. Really like that. It's Polish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grismot. Nice. It is here the Twitch.
Shotgun.
Oh, yep.
It's shotgun.
He does have the shotgun. It is the Twitch that will get rid of the lobby camera. Can also get rid of any Grismots if they will actually be tossed out over here. It's Ice with a good idea over here, isn't it? I mean, let's try to get this open, but doesn't know that there's a Cade in play. Oh no! Loses 2 of his Selmas and he only has 3
That is huge, because you're gonna potentially put one of your Selmas on the hatch, but one isn't enough to open that hatch. They're gonna have to call that Thermite in, who still has 2 of those exothermic charges, but he might want to have to use them for another part of the map. Queen now being pressured, throwing out that Grismot. Shield is gone and could potentially go aggressive with the shotgun, but chooses not to. Still has those Grismot, still could have hold longer, but Ice is going for a line of sight potentially on the hatch, knowing that it won't get open with a singular ace Selma, so he'll need that exothermic charge to come in as well.
Yeah, there's Mello trying to fight the Ella here. The Ella does run away, and the question is, do they have the intel? No, they don't. Mello gets downed here while Akui is full flash, and Akui is still full flash. However, did do quite some damage on Mello. Now knows that he still has the... Oh! It's a nice trade. I was gonna say, still has the cover of the Grismot might.
Still able to take down Mello, which is huge. Akui's gone now, as well as Sasha. You're losing your smoke, which isn't ideal, seeing as you still have 40 seconds left in play, and the attacker of the man advantage definitely being in the hands of ACEND. However, they wasted so much time trying to get a key off the blue stairs that there's now only half a minute remaining. Still a player behind those security lockers here. Lalo just positions himself safely for the test and he gets a double kill. Could potentially go for a triple, but is picked off by enemy now. 20 seconds left in play. Still Tachanka there as well. They're going for the breach on the wall, but the Shumika's coming out, denying the walk in onto the side. This could be really bad for ACEND. There's a lot of fire and they can't go onto the side for the fuser. 10 seconds left in play. Enemy just sprints past. Could go for a potential peek on Tachanka. Down Tachanka, gets the kill, and now the attackers win around because it's the final kill coming out.
How?
And this is huge.
How? How did that happen? Lalo almost with a triple kill, and then still it gets turned around here by ACEND. Huge play there from the Thermite.
I don't know why ACEND was just walking in there. I think they just expected Lalo to just vanish away from security or CCTV because he was still there. He had a really good positioning, able to pick up 2 huge kills there. Had he killed the Thermite, it would have probably gone the other way. That Tachanka did not expect the Thermite to just sprint on into the site. I mean, there wasn't anything else the Thermite could do. You can just wait and wait for more Shumikas to come out, but you're not going to be able to walk into the site. So he just chose to full-on sprint it. Getting that kill onto the Tachanka was huge. Not a lot of time remaining, but still being able to pick up that last kill. This is looking good for ACEND.
It truly is looking good for ACEND right over here, and currently a 4-3 lead here by ACEND. However, Anne, defenders should do better on bank, right? That's what the statistics say, but so far both teams have been struggling on defense. What could that be? What could we give as a reason for why they're doing so poorly on defense?
I think initially it was ACEND that was maybe playing a little bit too safe. And then later on, when they came back in those 3 rounds, they adapted really well into the push that was coming out from Mkers from time and time again. They had a player in open area when they knew that open area was going to be pushed. They just had control over top floor and just swung into players rappelling on windows when they knew Mkers was going to rappel onto those windows. Now, Mkers, you saw them last round trying to hold onto the blue stars for the love of, like, the Ella Shotgun player was just staying there so long. It was so much time wasted. But ACEND just kept on forcing themselves down that blue stairs. They could have gone for a different side take for whatever. But I want to see a big roam coming out for Mkers, just holding on to that map control, forcing less and less time for an execute in the hands of ACEND.
I'm liking this drone right over here from Shade. Gives a lot of intel to his teammates, and can feed the information that pretty much entire lobby is clear. Nobody on Kanto's spot at the moment either. Kanto's spot being this wall right over here. Akwi will make sure that the Selmas won't go off, but misses one of the Selmas. It's a little bit hard to wallbang, right?
Yeah, but this Selma here denying some potential rotates, especially for Akwi. Shane is already downstairs, finds Gemini, but loses the gunfight. So Gemini is able to pick up the first one onto that switch. They're now onto drone duty for the remainder of this round. Enemy onto those windows here around Banana, trying to gain some information of where a player of Mkers could be, but there's a pest, so the information game is going to be really difficult here. It's Mellow, however, with the kill on the Scatter, so we're even Steven man count. Time is running out. 1.5 minutes still remaining. Not a lot of map control because the players are still rappelling onto those windows.
My question is, why was Shade there by himself and had nobody in a refrag position? That's now, you know, a big kill here from Gemini. Gemini, who has been able to rotate back to site. The question is, do they know on the side of ACEND pretty much where their site is? It does seem that they do know. Gemini will go for an aggressive peek. Oh no, that's Ravon down. And there are players in a position to potentially go for a refrag, but hey, it's so hard to refrag when you just have random defenders popping up from out of nowhere. This round seems to be going in Mkers their way. Enemy is going to try to go for a hero play here and has to find that Lalo. And yeah, that Lalo can look the other way, but let's not forget, and it's now all about the proximity of a stun grenade and no longer about whether you're facing it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Kui just holding onto the window there. Lalo also trying to engage himself into a gunfight. But Enemy knew that player was coming. This grenade from underneath could be huge. But Mello is deciding not to go for it eventually. 30 seconds still left on the clock, and they're still dealing with the roamers. They still don't have the diffuser in hands either. Kui, a beautiful cross here. Lalo picks up the kill with a really good crosshold coming out from the players of Mkers. Mello now going for that grenade, but it's a little bit too late, I'm afraid. Sasha goes for the tap onto Mello, leaving him on very low HP. 10 seconds, no diffuser in hands. It's Lolo to pick up that last kill there. Really good crossfires coming out from Mkers here, and little to no information it seems from ACEND. And then when they get picked off, there doesn't seem to be a player there for the refrag.
Indeed, it was kind of a few solo pushes there from ACEND and kind of a spread push. I wouldn't really call it a spread push. I think that the Twitch tried going, or Shade tried going for a little bit of a hero play there, just sneaking into archives. I think they should have focused a little bit more on taking site and maybe, for example, push from alleyway. They all tried pushing from the lobby, tried taking top floor control. That didn't really work. That top floor was continuously in the hands of Mkers, and that kind of won them the round, didn't it?
It did, for sure, because they had really good crossfire setting up. They had the information to swing off, and also information denial coming out from them, because they had the Mozzie because you saw the player rappelling on the windows trying to get that information with a drone. However, the pest basically stopped them from getting that information. You have to go in blind. You have those flashes assisting you just to blind that player and potentially get the upper hand on him, but it just didn't work out in the way of ACEND. They were trying to take lobby control. They had that Twitch drone, but they weren't expecting those players of Mkers just to come swinging around the corners, and it turned out to be huge for Mkers. Now, they're going to retry to defend this downstairs, and seeing as the roam play worked out for them so well last time, I want to see another roam coming out from Mkers. Not just holding on to those blue stairs like they did last time with the Kui, but more. Try and be around open area, try and be on the top floor, so if they go for that blue tick, you can peek them from the skylight.
It is the Lord being brought yet again here, Anne. Setting things ablaze.
It kind of almost looked like it was going to work well, but the Chunker just didn't expect the player to run in.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, it was the right thing there to do from enemy, as we said earlier. And the question is, will the Tashanka be a little bit more aware of his surroundings just here? It is Shade pushing, kind of lurking, right? Pushing from completely solo on the lobby side. Well, it's Mellow here. Opening those vertical angles. They have to deal with this ally once again, who's holding that server stairs, Anne.
Shade being droned in, but there's information for the defenders as well, as they spotted him on the camera now. Mellow is able to just hold on to this top floor, and no player of Mkers just pushing up on there. I want to see them roam. I want to see them waste as much time as possible, because look at their lineup. They have a Chunka. They have a smoke. The more seconds they can waste, the more useful the utility is going to be later on into the round. That Thatcher EMP coming out knows that Akui has to fall back just a little bit. Shield gone now. One of those Grismolds as well. And now Akui is very exposed onto these blue stairs.
That nade, the first nade was wasted, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no more nades now, so they can't just nade him off. They have to peek him, and you're gonna lose the gunfight against that shotgun any day of the week.
Oh no, did he just get tricked by the cage while you have a Thatcher? What's going on, ACEND? You're struggling here. It's the Ella still playing here on the server blue stairs, and come on, ACEND, do something. Rotate, go for a garage push, do something differently. It's not gonna work, you've tried it before. And it is Ice here going for indeed that rotate, but he doesn't need to know that there's still a Lalo, of course, sitting here in server behind the racks.
Yeah, Lolo went huge there last time. Akui getting a lot of pressure now onto the blue stairs, but still able to live another day. He just escapes, and there's no one in dirt tunnel. However, from the hatches enemy to pick up the kill onto Akui. But look at the time wasted. This is where the utility of the Tashanka and the smoke are gonna come in play brilliantly. Lolo, though, going very aggressive behind the server racks here, is not able to pick up the kill just yet as he falls as well. Mellow on low HP, so a single tick from the smoke canister could be enough to finish him off. Gemini now trying to look and play safely. Sasha also being pressured here from the players that have already rotated to the main stairs.
It is here the choo-choo launcher, as I like to call it. It is a fire being spread here, but that fire is not really doing anything. Shade is trying to come down that main stairs. However, Ice gets the kill on Scatto. It's now all up to the Lord and Savior to save his team over here. Gets the kill on Mellow. That's a juicy shot indeed. Everybody's spectating Gemini here, and rightly so, because if he does pull this off, it would be amazing. It is Ravon that's getting pushed back here, and oh my god, for a second I saw it happening, but hey, that wall's open, and the Termite only had to sit tight and hold an angle.
How has this gone so south for Mkers? They were looking really strong. Akui was just dancing around nades, flashbangs, literally any utility that was being thrown onto him, onto the blue stairs, but it wasn't enough. There was no nades anymore. There was hatches being tricked by the kite, whilst you should have had them opened with the Thatcher and the herb breaching and everything. This literally looked as if it was really going to go into the way of Mkers, but however, those last few seconds, it just didn't work out. They had the utility to force those last seconds off with the Shumika launcher, with the potential smoke, but it just didn't go their way, and it is very unfortunate. This could have been a really big round. Mkers could have seen themselves in a 5-4 advantage, but now they're seeing themselves in a 4-5 disadvantage.
And what do you do when you're behind?
You're calling out a tactical timeout.
Let's set the clock. 38 seconds remaining. Mkers can now speak to each other. They can also speak to any coaches that are might around, and they might be telling them, listen guys, this is not it. What happened? We did so well on Coastline. Why are we struggling on our own map pick?
Well, I mean, I like to see a little bit of a roam coming out. They're really trying to establish that hold onto the blue stairs. Also allowing the players of ACEND to just rotate, but still that hatch being open. For a second, it looked like a Kui was going to be able to escape. That unfortunately didn't happen. Just that hatch being open there was huge.
It would have been amazing, right?
Yeah, that would have been crazy. I mean, how would you allow him to escape? That was good that he was killed, because it was long to you.
It definitely was long to, and I mean, wasted so much time, and still ACEND was able to close that round. It's crazy, man. Sometimes you just see crazy stuff, and that's one of the things that was definitely crazy. What might also be crazy is the 6-pick from the K-Tail pools.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to defend Tellers and Archives, you know that they're going to try and take the top for control. There's a sledge in play. They're going to try and get as many soft breaches coming from above, rotates being set up around generators so the players can just easily walk around. Look at the amount of C4s. Gemini's got one, Sasha's got one, and Scatto's got one. Scatto can just keep on feeding that information to his teammates just to throw these C4s, and the amount of damage they can do with that could be detrimental for ACEND. This is where Mkers needs to come back and get that 5-5. Otherwise, they're looking against a map point.
They would be looking against a map point. It's the mirror being brought over here, and we do see that Mkers will be, of course, roaming on that top floor. And kind of what you were asking for, Anne. Roam a little bit more, and roam they shall. They are bringing the alibi. Definitely an operator that can help with those roams.
Yeah, looking at the mirror being played more often on Bank, you're going to have these long lines of sight being set up, especially if the attackers are trying to take that control over top floor. Lalo's got a 1.5 scope potentially, Scatto's got a 1.5 scope potentially, so they can hold these long lines of sight and just have that even game against those bigger scopes potentially coming out on the side of ACEND. So that could give that little bit of aggression that I'd like to see in the hands of Mkers, because their time wasting is really good. However, at the end, they're just not able to close it off.
It is Shade really stepping up here for his team, isn't it? 9 kills. In the previous game, he was also the top fragger on the side of ACEND right here. So definitely a keeper, and we'll also get the mirror window here. Huge!
Oh,
and
no.
then we'll say, you know what, I don't need my Twitch on anymore. I'm just going to reactivate this gate. Or, well, disable this gate for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. You can allow yourself to go into lobby just a little bit, but once again,
Bit too early, isn't it?
Being caught off here, but that mirror window being gone basically allows the players on ACEND to just walk into lobby, feeling a little bit more safe because there's no mirror that mirror can just peek from. And we see that Gemini is now sitting back just a little bit more. This is looking like free real estate for ACEND for lobby now.
It definitely does feel that way, and we see that Malo is has a pretty nice drone over here and knows exactly where somebody is, and he could potentially try and nade this person, because that person is Sasha, who will aggressively keep on peeking. Lalo has taken quite some damage already. That nade was cooked, I would say, long enough, but just not tossed well enough. It's now enemy who will take enormous damage, but will live to fight another day. Currently, ACEND doesn't really seem to have a plan. There's 2 of the players trying to take top floor control. Ravon, you need to hit your shots, and he does, buddy. It's a 3 versus 4 situation. In the advantage for ACEND, but they have to wonder if somebody's still upstairs. Oh no, he's on his cam, and he's... What? Why are you on your cam, Ravon? Watch out. Akwi is still upstairs. They don't know.
Yeah, Quace is not yet capitalizing, not playing it safe and sound. Trying to go for a potential push down the main stairs, gets the kill into Ravon, but now they know that he's above as well. Shade now looking at these spiral stairs, asking for a Quace to show himself and come back down, but a key goes huge, getting up another kill onto enemy. Shade and Mello now left in a 2v3. Mello with the kill onto Akwi, so we're back to an even man count. However, a little bit of HP lost on the side of Scatto, a little bit of HP lost on the side of Shade, but the diffuser is dropped in lobby.
Gemini.
Players are nowhere to be seen.
Oh no, Gemini could go for a flank right over here. He has been droned, though. It's Shade with the kill on Scatto. And no, the diffuser hasn't been picked up just yet. Gemini can get the kill on Twitch here. Misses his shot. You have to go for the frag here, Shade. Win it for your team, and so he does. This round goes to ACEND, and we're on a map point for ACEND.
It looks like that both teams are just going to take each other's map picks, and that's really exciting. Then we're definitely going to have a very, very exciting final map, which could potentially be Chalet. Chalet, a map that might be a little bit attacker favored, and we've seen both teams perform very well on attack so far. That could potentially lead to fireworks and sparks if we end up going to that final map. However, Mkers, they have a chance to come back. They're going to go to staff room, open area. They have to not make any more mistakes. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing because I was told something by production.
Did I miss that probably?
They said FIFA la France. That's basically what they said. You hear that?
Yeah.
So for people who are wondering, we're having like a week and a half off after today's game. So to celebrate the first split of Challenger League, we're going for drinks with production. And they said if France wins here, so if ACEND wins here, in celebration of them winning, I have to pay for the first round. Because they're French and, yeah.
Is it this map or like the entire series?
It is this map.
Okay.
So if they win this map, I have to pay for the first round. I mean, I could now that I have my wallet back, right?
But you're just gonna buy like Mkers merchandise right now, I guess. So just support them and hope that they win this game so you don't have to pay the...
Exactly. Maybe our observer can teach us a little chant in Italian. Like, I know like FIFA la France, but like, what do you say for Italian people? Like...
Yeah,
Forza Italia, Forza Italia, Forza Italia.
Oh, you didn't really come out there well with the amount of syllables.
No, right?
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Do you think it will work?
It might work. We'll see. Mkers have to win this round, otherwise you're gonna pay for the drinks later on tonight.
Oh, Sasha already took a lot of damage. It's not working.
Oh, ICE on side. Enemy is going for the defuse. This is looking like a really quick round, potentially. Mellow ever goes down. Shay with another kill onto Scatter. Shay going huge, but enemy gets gunned down as well. This is going really quick. All of a sudden, Mkers in a 2v3 man disadvantage, and they have to go towards the diffuser. Lolo above picks up the kill onto Shade, so we're back on an even man count, but ICE still sitting very safe on the side. Picks up the kill onto Aqui, and Lolo now has all of the power in their hands to win this 1v2. Ravan just waiting for him to push, but Lolo with one has to find this one more player, gets the red pings onto the position of that last player, but ICE plays it safe, goes for that potential very aggressive push. Lolo with the pistol out. ICE is just waiting, not knowing where the play is coming from, but ICE picks up that last kill. This map goes to ACEND.
Wow.
We are going to full on overtime on this. We're going to the last map.
We are going to the last map, and what a comeback here from ACEND. Beautifully done. Winning it 7-4, and look who our MVP is of this map. It is Shade.
That's good to see. If you're standing in for someone and you're being able to step up that much for a team, that is definitely what is needed. Because it's not ideal if you have to play with the sub. You're not looking to go and play in this alligator swamp, that final match that you need to win, otherwise you'll be eliminated from Challenger League with the sub. But having your sub step up like this, that is huge. And that's looking good for ACEND.
It definitely is huge. And I mean, ACEND knew it, right? They knew, like, okay, this is make or break for us. We are indeed in the alligator swamp. If we lose here today, you have to wait another whole year, Anne. But Mkers is probably thinking the same. I mean, it's always hard saying goodbye to a team. So far, we don't have to say goodbye to either team yet. We're taking this to the third map, and Chalet, exciting times.
Yeah, especially Chalet with both teams looking really strong in attack. Chalet, one of the more attacker-favorite maps. Obviously, you can roam a lot on Chalet. Chalet really allows you to do that too.
Just look at the statistics. 34% of defenses got lost.
Wow.
I mean, got won. So
yeah.
That means 66% of the attackers win their round.
That's huge.
I mean, we're in for a treat, definitely. We are definitely in for a treat. Reflecting back on this bank, I mean, it could have gone either way, right? I mean, Mkers was up 3-0. Let's not forget they were up 3-0, Anne.
Yeah, but I really liked how ACEND was just adapting onto how Mkers was playing. If they knew, like, oh, the spawn is going to be pushing upstairs, we're going to have someone play there. If they were walking into open area before, we're just going to have someone play there and just win his 1v1, essentially, getting two very important kills onto the Heartbreachers.
You know, I just want to get straight into Chalet, but unfortunately, we do need a little bit of a energy break for ourselves and also for the players. So we'll be right back after the break.